Alright, so I think this is where we left off on Tuesday, but I don't think we actually had a chance to discuss them. I don't think they were on the end of our last video. So let's go ahead and take care of that real quick. So the three religions that we're going to talk about for this unit are all going to be monotheism, meaning that they believe in one single God. That's different than the other cultures that we've talked about so far, like the Egyptians and the Sumerians, because they were polytheists, or practiced polytheism, meaning that they believed in multiple gods. If you remember, they had gods for everything: a sun god, a sky god, a wind god, a rain god. There's all kinds of these different gods that take care of different aspects of their life. But with these three religions, it's based on the belief that there's only one that took care of everything. So with your guys' study guide, before you start writing anything in, here's how it works. If you flip to the front, that has the three religions on the left-hand side of your chart. And across the top of your study guide, it says geographic origin, founding leader, sacred book, teachings, main ideas. Everyone see that? Okay, and then at the top of our PowerPoint here, see where it says Judaism. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk all about Judaism first. So everything you write today is going to be in that column that says Judaism off to the side. Okay, so we're going to write across that whole top column. So as we go through here, you're going to see, like, for example, it says T and then MI right here. That stands for teachings, main ideas. So you're going to put what's in the yellow here in that teachings, main idea box in the Judaism row. As we go down the page, you'll see the GO written here. That's geographic origin. So that's going to go in the Judaism row in the box that's labeled geographic origin. And then same thing down here. You've got another teachings, main ideas. That's going to go in the Judaism row. So like I said, everything we're going to write, as long as it has Judaism written up here at the top, is going to go in that Judaism row. Now, a lot of this we read yesterday with our packet. So this is just kind of a general summary of Judaism. But there's a group of people called the Hebrews. They're believed to be the first monotheist. But they believed in a God that they called Jehovah. And according to their beliefs, their God spoke to a man named Abraham. And he told Abraham to leave his native land and settle in a place they called Canaan, which is now part of Israel. But his descendants are known as Jews. They're still sometimes known as Hebrews also. This is a painting of Abraham. Now, obviously, we don't know what Abraham looked like because they didn't have cameras and photography and stuff back then. So this is just what an artist thinks Abraham may have looked like. But you'll see where it says the FL here, that's founding leader. So in your founding leader box, in the Judaism row, you're just going to write the word Abraham. So Abraham is considered to be the founder of Judaism. Now, Judaism is sometimes considered to be the story of exile. Exile just means that you've been forced out of your native country. It's happened to the Jewish people several times throughout history. So you can go all the way back to that temple that we saw destroyed in Jerusalem. Said it was destroyed by the Babylonians first. It was rebuilt, later destroyed by the Romans. Okay, it's that Western Wall or Wailing Wall today. But the beliefs and things for Judaism are written down in a scroll or a book called the Torah. So this SB, that stands for Sacred Book. So in the Judaism row, you're going to write the Torah under where it says Sacred Book. I called it a scroll, Most Torahs that you would find in a Jewish synagogue are written on a large scroll. You can get the Torah in book form also, but it's not uncommon to see it as a scroll. I mentioned the word synagogue. This goes in teachings, main ideas. But today, Jews worship in places called synagogues. Now, the next religion that we're going to cover, guys, is going to be Christianity. So it should be your next row down. It should be one there in the middle of your study guide. So we'll do it the exact same way. We'll do the whole row of Christianity. So for our teachings, main ideas, all that stuff, it's all going to go in that Christianity row. So Christianity is going to start somewhere between 8 and 4 BC with a Jewish boy named Jesus. He was going to be born in a town called Bethlehem, which is a small town in what used to be called Palestine. So that goes in geographic origin, Palestine. But he grew up in a place called Galilee, where he trained to be a carpenter. And sometime around the age of 30, he begins traveling and preaching a religion based on love and forgiveness. And he started to develop a lot of followers. Both of these guys go under teachings, main ideas. Write small because we're going to add a third thing in there. Now, like we learned in our reading from yesterday, the Jewish people believed that someday there was going to be a Messiah or Savior that was going to come lead them out of that exile. They believed that God was going to send them his own personal Savior. There are some people that believe that Jesus was that Messiah that was promised in the Torah. That he was the one that God sent to help them. So these people start calling him Christ, which is a Greek word for Messiah. The people who share this belief that Jesus was the Messiah promised in the Torah are called Christians. Now, like our reading kind of alluded to yesterday, Judaism and Christianity do have a lot of things in common. We talked a little bit how Jesus himself was Jewish. The big split between Christianity and Judaism has to do with Jesus, though. Remember, Jews are still waiting for that Messiah. They don't think that Messiah that was promised in the Torah has come yet. Christians believe that Jesus was that Messiah. So that's where the two religions split. So that Torah, the first parts of the Bible are made up of that Torah. Okay, so that's how closely at the beginning they kind of related to one another. Now, the story with Christianity goes that as Jesus started getting more followers and more people started believing that he was this Messiah, there were some government officials that thought that this was a threat to their power. So they're going to have him arrested and crucified or killed. And according to their beliefs, they believed that after he was killed, his spirit was resurrected and went to heaven. The story about this and the story of his teachings and his messages are written in a book called the Bible. That would be the sacred book. So make sure you write that in the place for sacred book of Christianity. This will be your founding leader for Christianity still. And then this will be the last thing for teaching's main ideas. The picture here of Jesus, again, you got to remember we don't have photographs from this time period or anything like that. So this is just an artist depiction of what they believe Jesus looked like. But again, he's considered to be that founding leader of Christianity. Because his followers believed that he was that Messiah, or Christ. There are all kinds of different types and forms of Christianity. We'll get in a little bit more detail on that on Monday. But it is the most commonly practiced religion in the world. But like I said, there's more than just one type of Christianity. But most Christians today worship in buildings called churches. We have a bunch in our area. Christianity is a very common religion in our area.